The deeper rooms feel less separate now. They are beginning to join. At first, the dungeon had seemed made only of stone and surprise. A chamber, a doorway, a key, another chamber. Now something quieter is forming beneath that pattern. I pass through a narrow opening into a room where the air feels cooler than before. The floor stretches farther across than I expected. For a moment, nothing moves. Then a creature stirs near the upper wall. Another slips along the far side, low and quick, its path bending in short turns. I stop at the entrance and let my eyes follow them. A room should be seen before it is crossed. I keep the shield near my chest. The sword rests low in my hand. One creature cuts toward the center. The other keeps near the wall. I wait for the nearer one to commit itself. Then I move, just enough, and the sword flashes once. A brief light, a sharp sound against stone. Then one path is gone. The second turns faster than I thought it would. I lift the shield in time, feel the impact against the wood, and step inward. The sword answers again. Quiet returns. I cross the room slowly. Near the center lies something larger than a rupee, flatter than a key. Then I kneel and lift it. A map, thin, simple, marked in a way that feels plain and precious. Until now, the dungeon has lived only in my footsteps and memory. Now I can feel its shape beginning to gather outside of me. Not every detail, not every turn, but enough. Enough to understand that these rooms belong to one another. Enough to know that I am moving through a design. The comfort it brings is quiet but immediate. Stone still surrounds me. Danger still waits beyond the next doorway. Yet something has changed. The dungeon is no longer only what stands in front of me. It has a body now, a structure, a shape I can carry in my mind. I tuck the map away and move on. The next passage leads into a narrower room. A closed door waits on one side. An open way leads forward. Two creatures drift in slow curves near the middle. I think of them as part of the room. Their motion changes where I can stand. Their timing changes when I can move. So I wait. One comes close enough that the shield catches its strike. I turn with the force, step inward, and end the motion with the sword before the second can reach me. Then I shift left and strike cleanly. Silence again. The room gives me a key. A key means a door. A door means a withheld path. A map means the withheld path is part of something larger. I open the locked door and step through. The chamber beyond is darker. Not truly dark, just heavier somehow. Near the far wall, resting alone, I see another object. I go to it first. A compass, small enough to fit in one hand, certain enough to change everything. When I lift it, the feeling is sharper than it was with the map. The map showed me that the dungeon has shape. The compass tells me that shape has a heart. Somewhere within these stone rooms, there is a place more important than the rest, a destination hidden inside the structure. I stand still. For the first time since entering, deeper purpose settles over everything. The doors are no longer only doors. The passages are no longer only choices. All of it lies between me and something waiting farther in. That understanding steadies me. Even fear changes when direction grows stronger. I move back through the doorway and pause in the passage, holding the sense of the dungeon carefully inside me. Map, compass, key, door. Room by room, the stone maze is beginning to speak in a language I can follow. Some rooms hold danger, some hold the means to continue, some hold knowledge. I cross another chamber after that, this one broken by movement near the edges. The creatures here force me to keep turning, shield up, sword ready, but I do not feel lost. There is a center somewhere ahead. It gathers all the smaller actions into one line of purpose. Princess Zelda returns to my mind then, quietly as ever. Not as a distant story from the beginning of the night, but as the reason this hidden order matters. And behind her name, darker and heavier, is Ganon. Beyond even him is the broken Triforce, scattered across Hyrule in secret pieces, each one waiting inside places like this. The dungeon has not become easy. The stone still chills the air. The creatures still demand attention. The doors still decide when I may pass, but now I understand more. I understand that the rooms are connected, that the map lets me feel the body of the maze, that the compass points me toward its purpose. So when I step toward the next doorway, I do not feel like someone merely enduring these chambers. I feel like someone following the dungeon inward, able to sense where its heart may be. The dungeon feels heavier now, not because the stone has changed, because I have gone far enough inside to feel that something waits ahead. The map rests folded with the small things I have gathered. The compass remains the clearest thought in my mind. It does not speak, it does not shine. Still, it gives every doorway a different meaning. I move into another chamber slowly. The room is wide, but it does not feel open. Pale stone stretches beneath my boots. The walls seem thicker here. Even the silence feels more settled, as if this part of the dungeon has not been disturbed in a very long time. A creature crosses near the far side, then another. Their movements are quicker than the ones in the earlier rooms. Not wild, not careless, just harder to answer if I let myself drift. So I do not drift. I stand near the entrance and watch. One turns along the wall, the other cuts inward, then doubles back. The room shows its pattern in fragments, a path through danger, a pause that is safe, a corner that is not. I lift the shield and move at the proper moment. The first strike is clean, a brief flash. The second creature reaches me almost at once, fast enough to make the shield jolt against my arm. I turn with it, feel the narrowness of the room close around the motion, and answer with the sword before the chance is gone. Then stillness again, but the stillness is not the same as before. It seems to listen. I cross the room and enter another through a narrow opening. This chamber is smaller. A closed door waits on the far wall. Two creatures move across the middle in restless lines. I already know what the room wants. Patience first. I stay near the entrance and let their paths reveal themselves. One circles wider than the other. One turns sharply whenever it nears the wall. I wait until they separate, then step forward. The first falls in one strike. The second nearly slips behind me, but the shield catches the edge of its motion long enough for the sword to come around. Quiet. A key lies on the stone after that. I pick it up and stand there a moment longer than I need to. The key matters, of course. It opens what is shut. Yet what presses on me now is not the object in my hand. It is the feeling beyond the door. The compass has made me aware of a center somewhere ahead. Every locked passage feels closer to it than the last. I open the door. The room beyond is darker in mood, if not in light. Nothing dramatic, nothing loud, only a thickness in the air, like breath being held. The creatures here are stronger. I know that at once. Their movement is firmer, their approach less hesitant. When the first one reaches me, the shield takes the force, but not lightly. The impact travels up my arm. I step back, reset, wait. This room cannot be crossed on half attention. The next approach comes from the side. I turn just in time, strike, and clear a small space for myself. The remaining creature moves through it almost immediately, as if the room itself is trying to close again. The sword flashes, the shield lifts. My steps stay short, nothing wide, nothing wasted. When the room is finally quiet, my breathing sounds louder than the creature's ever did. That is another change now. The deeper chambers do not ask for fear, they ask for steadiness. I move on. The passages between rooms feel longer, though perhaps they are not. Stone doorways frame one chamber after another. Each one seems to hold the same quiet pressure. Ahead, ahead, ahead. I pass through a room with little in it but silence and old floor stones. Even that feels deliberate. A pause before something nearer to the center. Princess Zelda comes back to me then, softly. Not like a story being retold. More like a reason carried through the body. Somewhere above, beyond all this stone, Hyrule still lies open with its grass, bushes, and distant coast. But here, in these deeper rooms, the purpose of moving forward has become very clear. Zelda waits somewhere in the world beyond. Ganon waits somewhere beyond that, darker and larger than the rooms around me. And the broken Triforce, hidden in pieces across the land, feels close enough now to almost touch. Not this piece yet, but near, I know it. The compass has turned that knowing into certainty. Another doorway stands ahead. I stop before crossing it. The air on the other side feels denser. The silence is deeper, not empty, gathered. I do not see what waits beyond, not yet. Still, the whole dungeon seems to narrow toward that unseen place. I adjust my grip on the sword, set the shield more firmly on my arm. Listen once to the quiet around me. Then I step forward, calm and awake, toward whatever this deeper stone has been leading me to. I stand at the doorway for a long moment before entering. The room beyond is larger than the others, not vast like the fields of Hyrule, not open like the coastline, but large enough that the stone seems to hold its breath differently here. The floor stretches out in pale blocks. The walls stand farther back. The silence is heavier. This is the center the compass had been quietly leading me toward. I know that before anything moves. My hand settles on the sword. The shield rests close against my arm. I take one step in, then another. The chamber answers. A presence stirs ahead, low at first, then rising into the room as if it had always belonged to the stone more than I do. The creature is not like the others. It does not dart across the floor. It does not drift or hop in small, uncertain motions. It commands the room. Its body fills the space with a different kind of danger, heavier and more certain. For a moment I do nothing, not from confusion, from recognition. This is what the deeper rooms were leading toward. The first movement comes quickly. I lift the shield on instinct. Something strikes against it with a force that jolts through my arm. I step back. The sound echoes once against the walls and fades. I circle carefully. There is no wildness in me now, no rushing, only attention sharpened by everything the dungeon has taught. Watch the path. Wait for the opening. Move only when the moment is real. The creature shifts again. I answer with the sword. The strike lands, but the chamber does not release its tension. Not yet. I keep moving in a slow arc, feeling the stone under my boots. Again the creature comes. Again the shield answers first, then the sword. A bright flash against the heavier quiet. I breathe in, out. The room has narrowed, though its walls have not changed. That is what a true confrontation does. It gathers every thought into one place. There is only the shield, the sword, the movement ahead of me, the small, clear space in which I must remain steady, only staying with the rhythm long enough. Another opening comes. I step in and strike cleanly. The chamber holds still for one suspended second. Then the creature is gone. The silence afterward feels strange, not empty, released. I remain where I am, sword lowered, breathing carefully as if the room itself might need a moment to understand what has changed. Then I see it. Near the center of the chamber, where the stillness has gathered, something shines. Not like a rupee, not like a key, not like anything meant only to help me move forward. This is brighter, softer too, a piece of the Triforce. For a moment I can only look at it. All through the fields and stone rooms, the thought of the broken Triforce had been distant and half understood, like a story carried from the beginning of the night. Now one piece lies before me, real and quiet on the floor of the dungeon. I kneel beside it, golden, simple, perfect in its shape. When I lift it, it feels lighter than I expected, yet far more important than its weight can explain. Instead, something settles inside me. Purpose. This is why the dungeon existed. This is why the keys mattered. Why the doors held shut until I was ready. Why the map and compass led me inward. Not only to survive these rooms, to recover this. I hold the piece carefully. Princess Zelda comes back to me then, clearer than before. Not only as a name spoken at the start of the night, not only as a mystery at the far edge of Hyrule. Now she feels connected to my own steps, to the stone beneath me, to the quiet work of moving deeper and finding what had been hidden. And Ganon feels clearer too, not seen, but felt. A darkness behind the scattering of these pieces, the reason they had to be broken apart and hidden across the land. For the first time, I understand my place in that story in more than a half-dreaming way. Small still, alone still, yet truly within it. I rise slowly with the Triforce piece in my hands. The room no longer presses on me the same way. Its danger has passed into memory almost at once, leaving only the sense that something important has been restored. One piece. Only one. Hyrule is still wide. The fields still stretch beyond these walls. More hidden places still wait under stone. Princess Zelda is still beyond my reach. Ganon is still somewhere ahead in the darkness of the larger journey. But now the path is no longer only a mystery. It has become a promise. A piece was lost. A piece was found. I look once around the chamber, letting the quiet return in its gentler form. Then I turn toward the doorway, carrying the first golden piece with me, and feel the whole land of Hyrule waiting beyond the dungeon in a new and deeper way. When I leave the dungeon, the light feels different, wider. Stone gives way to grass again. The air opens. The wind returns across the field. For a few moments, I only stand there with the first Triforce piece held close, letting Hyrule gather around me once more. The sky stretches above in soft color. Bushes rest in quiet rows. Trees stand apart like familiar markers. Everything looks as it did before, yet nothing feels the same. I had entered the stone rooms listening for meaning. I return carrying proof of it. The fields no longer seem like scattered places joined only by chance. Now they feel connected to the hidden spaces beneath them. I begin walking. The grass moves around my boots. My sword hangs low in my hand. The shield rests easily on my arm. I do not hurry. That has become part of Hyrule now. Not slowness from uncertainty, slowness from attention. A blue hopping creature appears near a stand of bushes. Its strange path would have unsettled me earlier. Now I wait for the turn, step forward, and answer with one clean strike. A brief flash. The field settles again. I keep going north, or what feels like north, then east. The land opens into another stretch of grass, and there, half hidden near a tree, I find a rupee. Small, green, quietly shining. I pick it up and smile without meaning to. The rupees no longer feel like lucky surprises in an unfamiliar place. They feel like signs from a world that is beginning to know me. Farther on, I come to the edge of water again. Not the long coastline I had followed before, just a bright border of blue curving along the land. Still, the sight of it makes Hyrule feel broader. Water here, grass there, stone hidden below, caves somewhere ahead. The world is no longer a first impression. It is becoming a place. I follow the edge for a while. A drifting creature sends a small stone toward me. The shield catches it with a quick tap. I step in and strike before the next one comes. Then I move on. Not interruptions. Near a patch of bushes, I pause because something in the arrangement looks deliberate. I circle once and find a narrow opening beyond them, a place I might have passed without noticing earlier. Nothing grand waits there, only another piece of Hyrule held quietly aside from the rest. A few rupees lie scattered in the grass. The emptiness itself feels like a secret. I gather the rupees one by one and stand in the stillness for a moment. This is what the first dungeon has changed most. I no longer look only for danger. I look for hidden intention. A break in the bushes, a patch of shore, a dark cave mouth in the hillside, a field that seems ordinary until it gives something back. The Triforce piece rests with me, light and certain. Its presence changes every step. Princess Zelda feels nearer because of it. Not close in distance, closer in purpose. And Ganon feels more real as well. Still unseen, still somewhere beyond the fields and stone chambers I know, but no longer only a name from the beginning of the night. Whoever broke the Triforce and scattered its pieces across Hyrule left signs everywhere. I can feel that now. The land does not simply stretch outward. It hides, it waits, it remembers. I cross another field where the grass is broken by sand. Then I move inland again, drawn not by confusion, but by curiosity that has grown steadier. A cave opening appears in the side of a rocky rise. I stop before it, studying the dark entrance. This one feels different from the first cave where I found the sword. Different from the dungeon, too. Not a beginning, not a trial, just another secret kept in the open. I step inside only a little way. The air turns cool. The dark folds close around the entrance. Nothing harmful meets me. It is enough just to know that such places are here, waiting between the wider paths. When I return to the field, the sky seems softer, the shadows longer. Hyrule has widened, not because it changed while I was beneath the stone, because I have. The first fields taught me how creatures move. The dungeon taught me how rooms connect, how doors hold back their meaning, how a map and compass can turn confusion into direction. Now the land itself feels deeper. I walk on, passing trees, bushes, bits of water, quiet corners with rupees tucked into them like green thoughts. The journey ahead is no longer a blur. There will be more dungeons, more hidden pieces, more of Hyrule opening one careful secret at a time. I know that now. The first Triforce piece is only a beginning, yet it is enough to make the whole overworld feel changed beneath my feet. And so I keep moving through the evening fields, more awake to the hidden shape of Hyrule than I was before, ready to notice what the land reveals next. The evening fields seem wider than they did when I first arrived, not because they have changed, because now I can feel more inside them. Grass moves in soft waves, bushes rest in quiet rows, trees stand apart with space between their shadows. The open land and the hidden stone rooms feel joined now. I walk slowly through that feeling. The first Triforce piece rests with me, light in weight, heavy in meaning. Ahead, the field opens toward more Hyrule. A little water shines at the edge of the land. Beyond it, sand. Beyond that, more grass and trees. Hyrule no longer feels merely large. It feels arranged. A blue hopping creature appears near a bush. Its path is crooked, familiar now. I wait through one turn, then strike at the proper moment. A brief flash. The grass settles. A red one follows soon after. The shield catches its approach just long enough for the sword to answer. Then stillness again. A patch of coastline returns to my left. The water breathes in its old, patient rhythm. I stop and look at it for a moment. The shore taught me that the land had edges. Edges do not make Hyrule smaller. They make its inward places feel deeper. Somewhere beyond these quiet fields are more hidden pieces of the broken Triforce beneath the earth. I turn from the water and go inland again. The sky has grown softer, not dark yet, only dimmer and gentler. Between two stands of trees, I notice a narrow opening, just enough space to invite curiosity. I step through and find a small hidden clearing. A few rupees lie in the grass. I gather the rupees one by one. Hyrule gives small things without making them feel small. A cave mouth, a patch of water, a key on stone, a golden piece recovered from darkness. I leave the clearing and continue east. Princess Zelda returns to my mind then, more clearly than at the beginning. At first, her name had hovered over everything like part of an old, half-understood story. Now she feels steadier than that, still distant, still waiting somewhere beyond my sight, but real in the way purpose becomes real after a first success. One piece of the Triforce is no longer missing. That means the rest can be found. Ganon rises in my thoughts after her, darker and harder to hold. I do not picture him clearly. I only feel his presence in what has been broken and hidden. That thought steadies me, because the larger journey is not faced all at once. It is crossed one field at a time, one doorway, one room, one key. One small act of attention repeated until the way forward appears. A drifting creature sends a stone toward me from the edge of the field. The shield catches it with a light tap. I step forward, end the motion with the sword, and keep walking. Ahead, the land opens one more time into a broad, quiet field. Bushes form scattered lines. Trees mark the distance. The sky hangs pale above everything. I stop there and look out across Hyrule. It feels wider and deeper now than it did when I first opened my eyes in the grass. There are fields I have not crossed, caves I have not entered, more dungeons beneath the earth, more hidden pieces waiting in stone chambers, more of Zelda's silence calling from somewhere farther on. And behind all of it, Ganon felt like a shadow across the whole land. I rest my hand lightly on the sword. The shield is easy on my arm. The first Triforce piece stays close. I am still alone, but I no longer feel as though I have simply fallen into Hyrule. I feel called. The wind moves through the grass. The evening settles deeper, so I begin walking again. One step, then another. The grass hushes at my boots. The sky softens. The pale field blurs gently at the edges, but the softness changes. The wind thins into a low, steady hum. The pale sky narrows into a square of light. The smell of grass fades, and in its place comes the warm, still air of a quiet room. I stop, or perhaps I wake. The sword is gone. So is the shield. So are the bushes, the coastline, the hidden clearings, and the old stone chambers beneath the earth. I am back in 1988. The room is dim. The television glows softly in front of me. Its light reaches across the carpet. The house is quiet in that late familiar way, and the controller is still in my hand. I sit there for a long moment without moving. My thumb rests against the buttons. The screen still hums with Hyrule's colors, small and bright and impossibly far away. It would be easy to say it was only a dream. Easy, but not quite true, because the feeling has not left me. The grass still seems near. Princess Zelda still feels somewhere ahead of me, and Ganon, though unseen, still hangs over the kingdom like a distant shadow. I look at the screen. The room is here. The night is here. The controller is here in my hand. And yet, somewhere beyond sleep, Hyrule is still waiting.